Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with all of you today. And I have a great friend with me, Dr. Finike. And if you don't know me, I'm Audrey Faust. I'm a fractional CFO and a money coach for women. And we are going to talk about wellness today. And I'm so excited to talk to you about that with Dr. Finike. And we've become fast friends. And we're excited to share this stuff with Dr. Finike. I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us about what you do.
Hi, Audrey. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. I am a doctor of behavioral health and a wellness programs designer. So what that means is that for businesses, I design and redesign their organizational wellness programs just to make sure that everyone is getting all the pieces that they need. But my programs are more customized. So what I typically see in organizations is that they've kind of put all these things together and it's like, here, just have them. Here's the EAP program. Here's an app that you can use for mindfulness. Here are just some perks. And what we have found and like research has shown is that, for example, only 6% of people actually use their EAP. So while the company is paying for those things, no one's really using them. So my job is to come in and find out exactly what the people need and then design a program around what the people need so that it's a higher usage and the company actually is supporting the people. On the other end of things, I'm a business profit growth strategist. And so what I do on that side of things is I work with fempreneurs or women entrepreneurs that are kind of either just starting out or have reached a space where they're just stuck. My background is in healing trauma. So I help them to just get through those blocks that's stopping them from really tapping into their zone of genius as opposed to working from their zone of excellence, and for them to really dig into who they are. And a lot of times they just reach a plateau where it's like, I don't really know who I am, or my business doesn't really feel good. I kind of started my business and then framed it around what I saw everybody else doing, but it's not really feeling good to me anymore. So I help them to figure out who they really are. And then we transform the business, and in turn, they make more money in their business. So that's what I
That's
do.
awesome. I love that. I love that we both have two realms. So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that
Mhm.
too. But so I work with businesses as their fractional CFO in their accounting department. Their sizes are, about 2 million to 10 million in revenue is the sweet spot. I work with some larger when I'm just working with their teams. What kind of businesses do you work with? Well, like, where's your size in your wellness programs? The EAP, like what's a niche? What's a great size business?
Yeah. So typically, to implement a wellness program, a full fledged wellness program, the company needs at least 100 employees.
Okay.
And then from there, the largest company that I have put in a bid for, they have about 4,000 employees. So to implement a full fledged wellness program, I usually work between that range. However, I have worked with smaller companies and I actually do like facilitate workshops. That's kind of usually where I start because that gives me insight into where they are, what they know, and if the management or leadership actually have a buy into wellness, because it has to
Right.
start there. Like the leadership has to want to create this culture of wellness. So I
Right.
usually start with a workshop just to see where everyone
Yeah.
is, where the support level is, what are the things that they've already been doing, and then from there, I can make suggestions and say, hey, here are some things that I see. And can I come in and implement our holistic wellness assessment to see what everyone actually needs?
That's perfect. I love that. Like, thanks for explaining that
No
size
problem.
business that you work with. So, why do you think wellness is so crucial in today's business environment?
Whew. So I think wellness has should have always been crucial.
Right?
um, but but it hasn't been. And but now what we're seeing, and I think what the pandemic really did was highlight the burnout. The pandemic really highlighted the fact that, people have really just reached their limits. And what happened was we had this pandemic, everyone work remote, just go home and then okay, it's over now. Everyone come back to the
Overnight, right?
office.
We all just
Right.
went home
Yeah,
overnight.
everyone just go home.
Tomorrow
And
you're
then-
working from home.
Right.
I remember that.
Exactly.
It was like so crazy.
Exactly. And then it was like, okay, the pandemic is quote unquote over. Everyone come back to the office. And it was like, hold on, guys. Like we had a whole couple years here where people experienced loss and, people lost their homes, people lost jobs, people lost, a lot of things. And we haven't quite dealt with it. We just kind of said, hey, come back to work or just keep working. Like everything's okay and everything's normal. And, so I think right now it's just really crucial. But we've always needed it, but it's really just been, really highlighted, I think, over the last couple of years.
Yeah, you make some great points. Like often business owners don't look at, okay, you went home and it took you a while to get comfortable with that, right? Like, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to, be productive when I've got, kids running around, a husband running around? We're all stuck in the same place. And we finally, as, employees or whatever, we finally figured it out, right? I always worked remote, so it was easy for me. It didn't really change much for me, but a lot of employees, it did. So like, okay, I figured this out. I figured how to do it well. And a lot of times I think a lot of employees found that they were more productive working at home.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, and now they've gained 2 hours of their day or, an hour of their day. They don't have to get prepared to go to the office and come back. And then employers kind of flip, like you said, they flip the switch again. And then we're like, okay, come back in. And you're like, wait, well, I just got used to this. What happened? So we don't often think about, as owners of a company, like we don't often think about the effects that it's having on our staff and how to best implement the change. Like, well, maybe we make it gradual. Like I know a lot of companies went hybrid. And things like that. So,
well, what I will say is that studies have shown that remote actually works. So people are being productive, while remote. And speaking of, children, my toddler may run in here like any minute. Just putting it out there.
My dog may bark at any moment.
Hey,
so,
we're remote, okay? That's a part of the life. But what studies have shown is that, remote actually works. And so like, even with, a part of this program and designing these wellness programs, a conversation that is always had with leadership is, hey, have you considered, offering that 4-day work week? Have you considered, offering hybrid options? Because people need, space, right? I can't say, hey, let's offer wellness. And then they're stuck in the office all day for 8 to 10 hours, for some people 12 hours. When are they doing the wellness, right? Unless the employers are bringing the wellness into the office. And so we really have to be realistic about, if you want your people to take care of themselves, because them taking care of themselves mean that they will be more productive, at work and just in life in general, then we have to offer the space for them to do that. And we have to be realistic about what that really looks like.
Yeah, that's a great point. Often employers, they don't look at it in a 360 view like you're just talking about. That's you make a lot of great points. And it's such a crazy environment right now. Like employers are struggling to find people to work for them, but yet they don't want to be flexible with these things. So like I mean, and I know you talk about retention and things like, how does wellness help with retention?
Yeah. So in so many ways, employees say, well, I feel valued, when I know that my employer cares about me, or they care about my wellness, or they care about my well-being. And so a lot of times what can keep an employee, even when things are difficult, right? Even when they know that they're slammed, even when, if you do have to cut their pay a little while, because things are going, down or not the way that we want them to go. if they know that an employer values them and cares about them, it can keep them there. They will go through it with that employer. However, if they just feel like, hey, I'm just a number, I'm just showing up, I don't really matter, they never establish an attachment to the actual, employer or the job itself. So the thing is that as people, I think we've lost that sense of caring about each other. We've lost that sense of taking care of one another. And what I really try to do is urge all of us to say, hey, let me step outside of myself for a minute. What do the people around me need? What does my team need? Right? Am I checking in with my team to see how they're doing? Am I checking in to see, emotionally, are you okay? How's everything at home? Because things at home impact how people show up at work, how they show up in the office. And if we're not checking in with one another, right, how will we know? And so instead of just people coming in and, hey, here's this project, just get it done. No, let me have a conversation with you. Let me get to know you. Let me actually see, how you're doing. Let's do some mindfulness activities at work. Let's do some meditation, at work right before a meeting, right? We have an hour for the meeting. Let's take 5 minutes to just meditate. Let's take 5 minutes to just get quiet. Let's take 5 minutes to just check in. Let's just go around the room and draw a smiley face or a sad face or whatever face is, and just check in, and that way, as a manager or as a leader or as a supervisor, I'm aware of who's around me and what's happening with them because I care. And if you don't care, you need to care.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. So, like, what are some ways that I love that, happy face or smile, sad face, like, how are you doing today? Like, I'm just gonna go like oftentimes we always just say, "Oh, I'm good. How are you?"
Yep.
Like it's a but
Yep.
if you're forced to draw a happy face or a sad face, or even just maybe like
Right.
a straight
Or
line.
the straight line. The straight line,
Like
I could
you're not gonna go with that all time. Oh, I'm good. And if you actually as an employer really care about how your staff is emotionally on any given day, you don't know what's they're coming from in the background, right? Their home life.
Yep.
And what a difference that makes. I did have a boss when I was working full time, and I was struggling with a mom who was fighting for her life with cancer. And, he would always check in with me, and that made a difference, like, because he knew that was going on behind the scenes. So, that can make a world of difference if you're
Definitely.
just checking in to say, hey, how you doing today? And
Definitely.
sometimes you get busy and you stop doing that. And trust me, it gets noticed.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And, the other part to this is the thing that we forget is a lot of people, prior to the pandemic, they went to work. That was really the only time that they spent outside of their homes. So if I am in this space pretty much all day, again, the majority of my day is in this space, but I don't feel like anyone really cares about me, right? What is that doing to me as a person, right? What is that doing to my emotions? I can't just be a person who shows up to do their job. It's just not real. It's just unrealistic. It's just not. And, that I think worked at one point in time, but people now have really recognized that, again, the pandemic made a lot of things just come to light for a lot of us. And with being remote, people had the opportunity to really see, like, I do need time to take a nap in the middle of the day. I do need time to, go get a massage. I do need that time to go to the doctor. I need these things, and they didn't realize it before. So we can't just say, okay, now back to it. Go back to the life that you had before. Like, it just is.
Or like stay-at-home moms who now they're there, or not stay-at-home moms, but working moms, I should say, that like now they're there, the kids are getting off the bus, right? They don't have to worry about somebody being there to, make sure the kids are safe. So there's that whole new thing now, like, you've let them like see a different light. And I think it has to do a lot with the fact that, we are in a place where, people aren't going back to work. I think that's the whole job shortage, is because they experienced a better life, right?
Yeah. And
So,
made choices and got to really see like what matters, to
yeah,
them. And, the working moms pandemic, I'll call it that, is a whole nother thing because, you know, more moms said, I'm going to stay home than dads. That's a problem within itself.
yeah.
We have to also look at that, but that's a whole nother conversation. I'll come back for that.
That's another live on
I'll come
another
back for
day.
that
We'll
another
just talk
day.
about working moms. We can do that all
Yeah.
day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have a whole thing for that. But but I think a lot of it, and I'm gonna include dads in that as well,
Yeah,
parents, just had the opportunity to spend time with their kids, had time, moms, if they were the ones that were home primarily, had time to include dads more into getting things done in the house. And then it's like, okay, now, they're returning back to the office. And I think also it was more expected for moms to stay home than dads, right? That's an issue. But again, we'll get to that another time. But overall, parents had the opportunity to really spend that time with their kids. And then it's like, okay, now, go back to the office. That's there's some type of,
yeah.
emotional, issue that comes
Huge,
up there. Yeah. And
huge.
we and
And
we can't
employers
just
aren't
act
even
like it's
thinking
not
about
there.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I thought of a story. So like my best friend whose husband had always gone into the office, right? And she lives in New York, and he had always gone into the city, into the office, and the pandemic hit. He got put home.
Mm,
He All of a sudden he realized what he was missing, right? Because he wouldn't come home till later in the evening,
mhm,
till, and he realized, and they have younger children, he realized what he was missing. He was like missing their lives.
mhm,
And luckily his company let him continue to work from home, and he still does today. But
mhm,
like, he couldn't imagine going back into the office at this point and
mm-mm.
going back to that life that he had before, because now he sees what he was missing. He was missing
Yep.
his kids' lives, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what a gift. What a gift the
Yep.
pandemic was in
Yep.
that way, where
In
people
that
got to
way.
see what they were missing, right?
Yep. Mhm.
There are a lot of gifts the pandemic gave us. I
Oh
have
yeah.
to say that.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Of course, there were some negatives, but there were also a lot of positives. And I think we have to just be realistic about what life has to look like
Yeah.
for employers to be able to keep their people happy, to keep their companies open. Like, we really have to be realistic about what is it that they need, and we can't it, and just being honest, employers are clueless. They're clueless, and they're just kind of, like I said, throwing stuff together or hiring people to throw stuff together, but they're not really getting to the root of the individual and specific needs of the people that work for them.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm going to share a comment we have. Sorry if I butcher your name, Tiara. I remember realizing what I was missing and vowing to never go back to missing, even as I returned to work. Yes, that is so true. Like, you don't know what you got until it's gone, or vice
Mhm.
versa.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That is so
Definitely.
true. And I know we kind of went off on this whole like different, but that's what happens on these things, right? We went on a little bit on a different path, but like I said, a lot of things were born out of the pandemic. And you're right, employers don't always, and they are trying to look out for what they think is the best for their company.
Yep.
So, and they're doing the best they can. Everybody in this world is always just doing the best they can. That's the
Mhm.
way I feel. And like, they may be blind to some of these things. Maybe they don't have children. They have a stay at home. If they do, they have a stay at home mom who's taking care of all the things, right? Or all of that. And, it's hard, like, like Tara said, like, it's hard to go back when you see like this better life, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And now some employers, I mean, Tesla's or Twitter, the Tesla guys are all over the news, right? Saying you have to come back to the office, and the employees are, going nuts. But you do lose some things in the office. Like I think about my children who are in their 20s, and when I was in my 20s, I worked at a company where it was like all young people, and we would go out to happy hour every Friday, and you made those connections. Some connections I still have today. So, how I'm going to ask you, how do you go about making connections in the environment that we're in, where we're working from home?
Yeah. So, depending on the company, some of the things that I've done is like design in office, like wellness days. So where they come in, and there's like services in the office. So that can range from massages to reflexology to
that would bring me in.
to just various services. And then in that, we also have like group time or like, breakout time where we're talking about certain topics, or it's like a team building activity that takes place during that time as well. And then also, again, it's all subject to the company, but I have done, I've designed programs where there are live components to like us meeting virtually. And then within those virtual meetings, there are, different rooms that everyone goes in. So they still kind of get to, talk and interact with one another, because that's the piece that a lot of us are just missing, right? Is that interaction. So within my programs, I try to make sure that interaction piece is included and everybody's not still, just isolated, just doing their own thing. So forming teams within the wellness programs, building in incentives for completing like team building activities, things of that sort. And then also just making sure that that's something that's always being, discussed, partnering people with accountability buddies, just kind of still continue to strengthen the bond, because we need each other. That's the reality of the situation. We do need each other, and isolation is just not the way to go.
Agreed. And this is the perfect segue to talk about how we met. And Dr. Finique and I met through a friend. And then I was starting a new mastermind with two other coaches. I coach on money. The other coach coaches on marketing, and another coach coaches on human resources. And we all work with like larger businesses through my CFO business. Now my money coaching is different, but my CFO business, it's 1 million plus. But like we saw a need for the smaller businesses to get support too. And I've joined a lot of different, I've joined networking groups in person. I belong to 4 different, 2 here, 2 in Florida. I'm in Pennsylvania, 2 in Pennsylvania, 2 in Florida, because I travel back and forth. And I've joined a couple online groups. And the reason the 3 coaches and I like got together, and like we saw like there was something missing. We wanted to support the smaller businesses as well as create a networking opportunity for these smaller businesses. And so we created this mastermind, and I'm going to ask you what you think of this mastermind. It's very inexpensive. It's like the cost of a chamber, a local chamber price or less in a lot of times. And we meet once a week online, and we, as a group, we get together, we have substance. So one of the 3 coaches does like an exercise, or we talk about things. So there's a little bit of a substance to it, which is great. Like that's what I found missing in most online networking groups, is there was no substance.
Yep.
And it was just like, whatever. You talk about, your dog, you took your dog for a walk or whatever. I don't know. So we actually have really good exercises as coaches that we walk through the whole group with every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And Finique jumped on board with that. And she is one of our founding members. So I want to hear more about what you think about the Think Differently Mastermind and your experience with it.
Yeah, so far I would say that it's been really, really just great. And I always make sure like I'm in the meetings. Oh, that's another thing I love about it. Like everybody shows up. So everybody shows up, and I love the fact that we get to talk and like share. But yeah, those activities and those lessons are really, really good. I actually took the exercise that we did in the last one where we identified our core values. And I did it with like two of my closest friends. And
awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I got this activity I'm gonna do with you. And but I found so much value, and I plan on bringing them into the group as well. But yeah, I found so much value in that hour that we meet, like, and it goes by so fast because everyone is so interactive and speaking and sharing, and we get personal, we talk about our businesses, and everyone is so open. So it's just a really good space, like really good energy. Everyone is congratulatory of everyone else. We share our wins, we share what we need assistance with, and I just like the space. It's a really, really good space. Great women in there.
Thank you. It is open to men, but right now it's all women. But it is, I love hearing that. Like, that's exactly what we wanted to create. We wanted to create a space. All three of us are certified neuro coaches, which deals with, all the things we got going on in our brain. So we have a lot of great exercises we can bring to the table and just help you become aware of what's going on. And next week, we're talking about the power of 7 whys, which is, after Thanksgiving. There's no call tomorrow, but after Thanksgiving on December 1st, we're talking about the power of 7 whys, and you don't want to miss that one. It's going to be great. So we also offer a free, if you want to come see what it's about, you get to come to one free meeting. Just reach out to any of the members, Finike, or you can reach out to myself, and we can get you the link to join one free meeting and come and try it out. Like, why not? So, so it's the three of us had done a lot of like live stuff and all the things. And we were kind of like, we're putting the time and energy into doing these lives and just kind of throwing them out on the internet. Why not take that time and energy and create something special for some people at a very low cost that we can give back? Because that's what we're all about. And it's $240 a year. And if you join now, like, your membership doesn't renew till January of the following year. So you actually get the rest of this year free. And it's special. Like you said, it's a special group. I think all of our energy as coaches, me, Marie, and Louise, we've attracted a special group. So we want to keep growing it, and just, as it gets bigger and bigger, we can do breakout rooms. We can do things like that too. So we're super excited about it. We love it. And I'm glad that you like it. And it's been great having you in there. Is there anything else you'd like to share about the mastermind group?
I would just say that for any woman, I know it's for men too, but right now it's us women, and I like it. But for anyone, for anyone, I'll say that for anyone who is a small business owner, founder, or CEO, it's definitely a great place to just be in. It's just, I just like the energy of it, and I like that it just flows. I love that it's interactive, and I actually walk away every week with something like, wow, like, oh yeah, that was really good. And so I have takeaways, and I take notes, and it's really, really good. So yeah, I would just say definitely check it out. Come, contact if you're watching and you're connected to myself or Audrey, definitely send us a message in LinkedIn so that you can get, so you can get a link to come in for free. And we meet every Thursday. So it's really, really good. Like, trust me. Really,
Thank
you.
I love that, like, the whole point of it was to walk away with something. I love that
Yeah.
you get a takeaway every week. Like,
Yeah.
that was really the whole point of it. It's like, we want to give back, we want to offer assistance to the small business owner. Um, you know, it's a lot of mindset exercises and things. Well, not, I guess the values exercise isn't really mindset. It's just a lot of great, exercises that we get,
Mm-hmm.
can help us grow our businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and grow them correctly, because I know that's what you're
Right.
about. Like, the values exercises,
Definitely.
like, that we did last week was like, you need to make sure these values are how you're
Business. Yep.
organizing your business, right?
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yep.
or you're going to hate it. You're going to blow up your business and
Yep.
you're going to walk away.
Yep. Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that was definitely the whole reason around that. So we just love doing it. We
Mhm.
love having you, Dr. Finique. I
Thank
love having
you.
you on here live. It's so much fun. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we close out?
No, we'll come back and we'll do the live on
Perfect.
professional women.
I love that. So because my money coaching business, that's who I work with, is professional women.
Mhm.
And I educate them around finances because,
Mhm.
as women, we weren't taught
We're
to.
behind.
Yeah, we're behind.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
on a
we're behind.
movement. I'm on
Oh,
a
yeah.
mission. And I want to educate women around their money, around their
Yeah.
finances, so they can
Yeah.
become empowered.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they can really, and I know you're on a similar mission. So
Yep.
maybe we come on and we talk about that next time.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm on this. I will be an angel investor for fempreneurs, and ones that have no clue on where to start. And let's start with wellness, getting those blocks out the way so that they can build a business initially that really fits them, and then helping them to get started. So yeah, that is the goal. It's happening. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and
No
have a
problem.
wonderful
Thank you.
Thanksgiving. Have a
You
wonderful
too.
Thanksgiving, everyone. And
Bye, everyone.
if you're interested in, connecting with one of us, please do. If you want to join if you want to join a meeting in the mastermind, comment below or message one of us, and we got you.
Yep.
Thanks, Kiara. Have a good night. Have a good Thanksgiving. All right.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.